Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sandeep Paul Chaudhary, and before we start with the session, which is the first session today, I'd like to thank all of you for being a part of this remote training program organized by the Department of Physics, SVP College, Babua. What we have, the plan for this is you're supposed to train you on HTML and XPS software, and also there is an intent that you will basically be helped out with keeping yourself updated with the technology which you can use basically to deliver online lectures. I will be one of the resource person. I'm Dr. Sandeep Paul Chaudhary from NIT Nagaland. In today's lecture, I'm not really going to talk about any softwares as such, but I'm just going to generate some kind of interest that what is important for this time when you actually need to do a lot of online work and need to upload quality lectures. The aim of this particular session would be to uh, help you out with knowing different softwares which are mostly free, okay, and some of the softwares which you have already been using for technology, like for example, let's say PowerPoint and Microsoft Word and so on. What we plan to do is we are also going to tell you some free softwares, and I'm going to give you some demonstration of how to use those softwares so that you can upload quality lectures for the students, because it has been very important nowadays that we are slightly, not much, slightly tech savvy. That doesn't hamper the movement or the motion of the classes that you are basically conducting in this time of need, right? What I'm going to do today in this particular session is I'm going to tell you that what are the things that you should be knowing. Some of these things you might already know, okay, you already might be aware of these things. So the first thing I'd like to tell you is the Google family is a very important part of doing any kind of online work, okay. You can do the work offline or online depending on what kind of connectivity you have. But before we really proceed to more technical aspects, some of the websites that you should basically consider is, okay, some of the websites that you basically consider is basically Gmail. So I hope all of you know about Gmail. If you don't have an account, it's always better to create a Gmail account so that your one Gmail account can actually help out with use of disseminating online classes in the form of in Google Classroom. Okay, so that is one more point, which is Google Classroom. You can use the same Gmail ID. So I basically show you how to create a Gmail ID and how to actually use Google Classroom, okay, using that Gmail ID. You can use the same Gmail ID to actually update some more data online, which you can keep it online, which you can access from your mobile phone or from your laptop or from your desktop, anywhere, anytime, even without a pen drive. What you need is just a machine and an internet connection. That's important. Why we use Docs is Google Docs is a very important aspect. Again, you can create online Excel sheets, online Word file, where different teachers can collaborate together so that the information can be spread out. Okay, and finally YouTube. Now YouTube is something which we all have seen, but I think many of us are considering it just as a source of video information or whatever we can get from there. But we can also be a source of information, just like this video, because this video will be uploaded on YouTube. You're going to see it from the YouTube channel, okay, from my YouTube channel. And if we I can disseminate that knowledge via YouTube, you can do that too. Initially you can start off with normal lectures for your students. You can have a lecture session where you can record your screen, okay, what I am doing exactly. At the same time, you can be having a camera with you so that the student can come in touch with you, and there should be a kind of, let's say, a face-to-face conversation. Okay, so different aspects we'll be talking about in this particular lecture. And what we can do now is what else I should be knowing. Okay, the remaining part is this, some of the softwares that are very important. Okay, so I'll just make it small, okay, so that you can view it. So all I can do it, okay, everything is possible here. So most of the softwares that I'm talking about basically here are free softwares. Okay, so this lecture will basically deal with a basic understanding of Microsoft PowerPoint and how exactly you can use that. Okay, and definitely you need a PDF reader. Okay, there are some free PDF readers which are available, you can use them. Okay, and if you are buying a laptop which actually, or a desktop which actually comes with some pre-installed software, you might be getting a Microsoft PowerPoint version of that. You can also get a PDF reader. Okay, it might be an Adobe PDF reader, okay, the initial version, but that's enough for giving out information to your students. Okay, next there is something which is called a snipping tool. Now some of you might already know about print screen. Whatever is there on the screen, you can basically copy and paste it, okay, in any of your PowerPoint slides. But then that requires a bit of editing. For example, we basically crop it and so on. Okay, so there is some more difficulty there. But as we go through the lecture series, I'm going to tell you a very useful application of snipping tool. If you are using a Windows 10 version, it comes default. Okay, so you'll be using that snipping tool. Okay, and then next we have got something which is called the on-screen recording tool. Now you can do a recording of your video lecture on your laptop, desktop, or even on your mobile phone. Okay, so as a matter of fact, this recording that I'm putting up to you is using a mobile phone, just to showcase the fact that it's as good as recording it on a laptop. So it becomes a very simple task. Okay, so you can always record it on your mobile phone. Okay, and then put it on YouTube, and that will be actually a very good content. Okay, this is a high quality content, no doubt. So if we just sorry, just take this on this side. Yeah, so if we just use basically a laptop, you can also do a lot of editing. It's not that you cannot do it on mobile. You can, on your mobile phone also you can do a lot of editing, but if you do it on your laptop, you can do a lot of editing, and that editing can be done by using softwares like what we call as Flashback. Okay, so that's a free software. I'm talking only about free softwares here. You can use OBS Studio, although for OBS Studio you need better understanding, better ideas. Okay, Flashback is a very simple software. OBS is much more flexible. You have a lot of other options there. Okay, so if you have time, we are definitely going to look into that aspect also. There is one more thing which is called the Screencastify, which you can use for recording only 5-minute videos if you want to use the free version. That can be useful for just recording very small lectures within 5 minutes. Okay, that basically is a plugin which comes with your browser. So when you actually surf the internet, you might be using a browser. Let me give you an example like Internet Explorer or Firefox. You can basically use Chrome. Okay, so if you're using Chrome, you can use the Screencastify for recording short videos. That also records your camera. Okay, so you can show your picture. That's always a possibility. That you can do even using Flashback and OBS Studio. Okay, I'll show it to you in the lectures ahead. Next, we have got something which is called Epic Pen. Basically, I'm doing this marking and the tick mark on the screen. That is basically something like an on-screen annotation software. And Epic Pen is an on-screen annotation software. If you're using a mobile phone, you don't need an Epic Pen. All these softwares listed are for your desktop or laptop. So you can use an Epic Pen, and they will be having an on-screen pen there. Okay, you cannot have all the options, all the flexibility if you use a free version, but it's more than enough to do some kind of marking on the screen. Okay, so that's important. And then finally you can use another software which is called DroidCam. What happens sometimes when you're using your webcam or your desktop might not be having a camera, your laptop might not be having a very good resolution webcam, but definitely all of us are using a lot of mobile phones. Your mobile phone's camera can be used on the laptop or on the desktop for recording. So if you want to do that, you need to use this software which is basically DroidCam. The client app will be, or software will be installed on your laptop or desktop, and you can have one part of the software installed in your mobile, and both of them gets connected. Now they can be connected using a USB cable, or we can actually use a Wi-Fi connection. Okay, but in case you don't have a Wi-Fi connection, you can definitely go for a USB cable. Okay, so if we just want to know what are the hardware that actually we need. Okay, so the basic hardware that you need is actually nothing but a desktop or a laptop. Okay, that's the best option. In this session we are not going to talk much about mobile phone recordings. Okay, but I will, at the end of the lecture sessions, I will be definitely give you some basic idea on how you can do the recording even on your mobile, and depending on your need, or if you actually need an additional lecture for that, I can also prepare that for you. Okay, We definitely need a webcam, okay, if you want to have a good quality picture, if you're recording your face. But it's not mandatory. You can always make PowerPoint presentation or PDFs and record it on screen. You don't need to show yourself, you are confident enough, but showing your face on the screen while interacting with the student during a recorded class, it's always better, okay. It's not really a live interaction, okay, but you're talking to the student face to face. The student can get that feel, and that's always better for giving lectures, right? So you can basically use a webcam. You can buy a webcam basically, or you can use the default webcam. So if you're using a laptop, you can use the default webcam, but then you don't need to buy a webcam if you have a mobile phone. If you have a mobile phone, you can use the software that I said, and using that, definitely you can actually disseminate your lectures and include the video as well, okay, your video. And then you can use a digital writing pen. Now Wacom is a company which prepares very good digital writing pen. What happens is you have just a simple USB connection, a cable which is connected to your laptop and desktop, and then there is a very small pad, and then there is a digital pen. You can write it on that digital pen, and the same thing will be recorded on your screen. Now you can use that if you want to make your lectures more interactive, and that's again optional, okay, that's again optional, okay. And then what is more important is probably to have an internet connection which might be a broadband to the 4G connection. Now let me tell you very clearly that according to a recent report, it has been observed that only 8% of the teachers who are working from home has got broadband connection, okay. Now every one of us doesn't have a broadband connection, so sometimes it becomes difficult. There is also a reason that you cannot have live classes on softwares like Zoom and all, which you might have heard, or even Skype. So what is the best option? What we can do is we can record a lecture. We don't need any internet connection for that. Some softwares and hardware is needed, okay. Once you record it, you can definitely upload it. Now what you do is, if you use a mobile phone and record it, the size of the file size that you have will be approximately around, for a half an hour lecture, it might go up to 1.52 GB. And if you are keeping the file size small, then the resolution doesn't get that good. But what happens with these on-screen recording softwares, that you can record your video, okay, you can record the presentation, everything can be done together at a time, and the file size is not too big. If the file size is not too big, you can definitely upload it on your own YouTube channel, okay, using a simple 4G network. So you can use a simple 4G network to actually do the uploading. So it's not always mandatory that you should actually have a broadband connection, okay. It depends on how you are preparing your resources, so that's very important. So what happens is basically if you use something like WhatsApp, like whatever we are doing here, if it is not controlled and everyone has an access to actually post anything on the WhatsApp group, it basically becomes very difficult to read the messages, okay. Even something important might be missed out there. So for that, actually we are using websites like Google Classroom and all, okay. The Google Classroom tool is a very important option, and that's why we should know these things, okay. And using a Google Classroom can be done even on your mobile phone. So what happens is you need a standard Android mobile device. You can do your lecture recording, you can upload your lectures, everything can be done from the mobile phone itself, even if you don't need if you don't have a laptop or a desktop. So there are a lot of options to explore, okay. The idea of this particular lecture is to tell you that what are the things that we are going to learn in this particular series, okay. So that's all for today. I hope you got the important aspects of what are we going to learn. From time to time I'll be available on the WhatsApp group. If you have any doubts after each lecture, you can definitely ask me. So see you, and happy learning.